Welcome to the Problematic Gaze with me, Dr. Lee Arnott.
And me, Dave Moore.
Each episode we take a piece of pop culture from yesteryear and ask ourselves the question, could he get away with it today? And if not, why not? And what does that say about society and culture then and now?
And before we take a deep dive into our chosen topic, we'll look at the news events of the day, we'll also look at the TV or film landscape, and we'll also look at the pop charts, just to put our chosen topic and the year into context.
Very good.
Okay, so, how are you?
I'm a little bit under the weather.
Oh.
I can't lie. I'm a bit bilious today. A little bit nauseous. I've got some osteoporosis issues going on. Old Nana, you can call me. And I have to take this medication that knocks me a little bit sick.
Oh.
So I'm just a little bit nauseous.
Side effects.
Yes. Yeah, it's very annoying. Deeply boring.
I think that we might call this episode the health episode.
Why? Why pray?
Because, is that your problematic thing that's happening to you this week?
Yes.
Or today?
Yes.
Yes. Because we are gays of a certain age, and as such, ailments do start to creep in. We're not young whippersnappers anymore. We can't go kicking the shit out of the weekend like we used to do in our 20s. Well, you do sometimes. Well, I do sometimes too. But it takes us a long time to bounce back. Now, touch wood, we haven't got anything hugely serious with us at the moment.
Touch wood.
Touch wood, yeah. You ain't going anywhere until we make our first million. That's the deal, okay? Because we've spent 2 years doing this shit. If you fucking shuffle off this mortal coil now, I'll be furious with you.
Even if I'm strapped up to life support, I'll still be fucking doing it, darling. You have to tap it out with my eyebrows. I'll still be doing it.
We'll get you on a voice machine, voice code. You can just tap it. As long as one little hand's working.
Yes.
Then we can still carry on with the podcast.
Yes, we can.
Okay, now my problematic thing is this week, it's health related, that I still haven't got my list of you off you. You also lose the ability to speak after the age of 50, apparently.
The list of me.
I still haven't got the list off you of what I should be asking the nurse/doctor at my over 50s health check tomorrow.
I didn't realise I was supposed to prepare a list for you. I didn't get the memo.
Well, you do. So what kind of things? Now, what kind of things will they do? They'll probably check for cholesterol, won't they?
Yeah.
Excuse me while we just sort this out. But this is very informative for any of our older gazers.
That's what we've got to look forward to, kids.
Yes, ladies and gents, if you've got a partner out there who refuses to go to the doctor, send them for an over 50s, just to be on the safe side, just to check all the gears in working order.
Well, they're going to automatically check your blood pressure. They'll do this automatically.
Yeah,
Cholesterol.
Yeah.
To probably do a lipid test for that, I believe. It's a blood test you don't have to worry about. They'll do it automatically.
Fine. What does that test for?
I think it's cholesterol.
Oh, okay. Now, obviously, the big C is a concern for people as they get older. So, prostate, should I ask? Because what I'm going to do, because we are talking about Only Fools and Horses this week, I'm going to go full-on Del Boy.
Right.
I'm going to basically get everything
You're going to try and flog them some dodgy watches in a suitcase.
Del Boy would want all bells and whistles, wouldn't he? And
he would.
So, prostate. So, should I demand a prostate check? Or what can they do about it these days?
Well, these days you send a poo sample.
Poo sample rather than fingers at bottom time.
Yes, yeah. You can stick your own fingers at your bottom anytime you like, darling.
No, those days are long gone. Chest, breathing, circulation.
They might do that.
Right.
Well, unless you've got any issues, they probably won't.
Okay.
They're going to ask you if you've got any issues.
Yeah.
They'll do the baseline, the basic stuff.
Yeah.
And they'll ask you if you've got any issues. Have you got any issues? Well,
no.
Clearly, but I mean...
Not the physical, anyway.
Well, that was easy.
Is that it, then?
Yeah.
I don't feel as though I'm getting my money's worth out of that.
What, your 7 pence a year you pay for the NHS?
I pay huge amounts of tax, and I rarely trouble the NHS.
7 pence a week, sorry, my apologies.
7 pence a week we all pay, is it?
Yeah.
Where the hell does the rest of our money go then?
Well, that's all it costs. What do you mean where the rest of our money go?
But we pay our tax. We don't pay 7p a week tax.
That's national insurance, I think. That's what that covers.
But what does the tax go?
I feel like you're attacking me when I'm really ill.
I mean, because... Obviously, the council tax goes to pay for the
council
bins.
services.
Council services,
yes.
Even though you have to pay extra to get your bins
Income tax goes to government for our money to spend on infrastructure and things like that. And I believe national insurance is what goes to the NHS.
Right.
But it's still ridiculously cheap. So we have to stop treating it as if we're paying for a 5-star service when we're paying for...
No, look, I've got no issue with the NHS because every time I've used it, which isn't a huge amount of time, I've just had nothing but the best service. And
yes.
The doctors and nurses are just super brilliant. brilliant, you know, so I'm not knocking that at all. If anything, I'm knocking the government for just wondering where our wages go, our taxes go. Okay, rant over. You're still with us, gazers. What are we talking about this week?
We're talking about the classic BBC sitcom, iconic BBC sitcom, Only Fools and Horses. Mm-hmm. What's your relationship to Only Fools and Horses?
Well, I've got a real nostalgic love for Only Fools and Horses. It's not something I watch all the time when it's repeated, but, you know, I always dip in and out of it if it's just on telly, particularly at Christmas time. I think it's kind of like a Christmassy thing for me because it brings back huge memories of watching it with my dearly departed grandma, with my mum and dad. It was a family show that everybody could watch.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of love in the UK if you're listening from abroad. Only Fools and Horses is a national institution, largely due to, well, the writing of it, the fact that it kind of represented working class people, and the central performances by David Jason and Nicholas Lyndhurst, amongst others. They just brought them to our hearts, didn't they? So what about you?
Same. Loved it. Watched it with the family. We were big fans. I was a big fan. Obviously, all the iconic moments are kind of seed into your brain, aren't they?
Yeah.
Chandeliers. I mean, if you say chandelier, Batman and Robin, blow up dolls, people will immediately be able to situate exactly what you're talking about. So, yeah, I really loved it.
Yeah.
I know some elements have come in for criticism recently, and some episodes do have to carry trigger warnings these days.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah, but it's kind of like what you say about a comedy can age badly. Yeah. So, yeah, we will be highlighting some of the problematic elements of Only Fools and Horses, but this is by no means a knocking of the show because we know it's got a huge amount of love out there.
And actually, we're really fond of it. So,
yeah. And we could compare it to some other shows that are hugely problematic.
It's problematic because it's of its time and the times were different. But it's not seeking out to be problematic in a way some of the other stuff we've looked at has.
Absolutely.
So this episode was broadcast on the 29th of January 1989. We've not been to 1989 before,
No.
I tell you, TARDIS, Dave.
We're excited.
So should we step out into the world and see what was happening to the UK in 1989 as we cross over to the news desk?
Here we
doesn't
are.
get
God.
easier, does it?
Could they move to the
Doesn't
regular
get
studio,
easier.
to the new studio? Could they make it closer?
I don't know.
I'm absolutely knackered.
I mean, I'm not well today. I'm not well.
No.
Not well. I've got to do
We
that.
should have wheeled you over.
Should have wheeled me over. Thanks for nothing.
Okay, news events. Now, warning, there are some quite hideous news events.
There really are. It's a big, On the 14th of January, Muslims demonstrate in Bradford against the Satanic Verses, a book written by Salman Rushdie, burning copies of the book in the city streets. And then on the 14th of February, the Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran places a fatwa with an order to kill the author. Iran will break off diplomatic relations with Britain the same month. I mean, that's still going on, isn't it? You got Salman Rushdie was attacked.
Yes.
Really recently, wasn't he? A couple of years back.
Badly.
But yeah, there was a lot of anger about this, and it became a real flashpoint and doesn't calm down, doesn't go anywhere. So, and obviously gets used by all sides of the political spectrum to prove various of their points, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Grim.
So, on the 5th of February at 6 p.m, Sky Television goes on air. 4 news services: Sky News, Sky Movies, Eurosport, and Sky Channel.
Here we go.
This is the start of
This
it
is
all.
the start.
Yes.
Digital TV is coming, and that's going to lead us to where we are now.
Yes.
I mean, obviously still in its infancy. It really won't take off until Sky does the football deal, which I believe is the year or two after this. And then we get the invention of the Premier League and stuff like that. So,
gosh, I remember used to cover people who had Sky T, Sky Dish, and everything, because we were still assigned to the 5 regular terrestrial channels, weren't we?
Yeah.
And if you had Sky, it was a real luxury.
Actually 4 at this point. It's not 5 yet.
4, yeah. Still
Channel
4.
5's not till the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Well, 96, 97. On the 15th of April, 94 people are killed in the Hillsborough disaster during the FA semi-final between Nottingham Forest and Liverpool at the Hillsborough Stadium in Sheffield. 3 more will die later of serious injuries received, and around 300 others are hospitalised. The death toll is the worst of any sporting disaster in Britain, with the youngest victim being 10-year-old boy and the oldest is 67-year-old Gerard Barron, who's the brother of the late former Liverpool player Kevin Barron. Not until 1996 does a second coroner's inquest determine these to be unlawful killings. Grim.
Those poor people.
Oh, God. It was absolutely horrendous.
I mean, this is an event that I distinctly remember.
Me too.
Hearing it unfold on the radio. I worked in a pigeon racing export firm at the time. It was a Saturday job.
Sorry, could you get any more bloody northern?
I know. Paid £1 an hour to sit in this confined little room underneath the stairs and shred paper that they used to put in the
For the nests,
boxes.
for the boxes.
For the boxes,
Wow.
yeah, to send off pigeon racing equipment.
Yes.
And I just remember it unfolding on the radio and then obviously going home and watching it on the news. Just terrible, because they'd erected barriers, hadn't they?
Well, it was a response to the hooliganism that used to blight football, in the 70s and 80s. So, but go on,
Yeah, and, all sorts of blame flying around for this. And 4 days later, the Sun newspaper sparks outrage on Merseyside and throughout the nation about the Hillsborough disaster with an article entitled The Truth from the Sun newspaper.
Yeah.
It was supported by South Yorkshire Police as well and locally based news agencies, and it claimed that some spectators robbed the dead and injured and attacked police officers when they were helping the injured and dying. Other newspapers, including Daily Star and Daily Mirror, as well as several regional newspapers, have also printed similar allegations. Now, this later turned out to be
a load of shit.
Yeah,
honestly. And interestingly, you get the collusion with the police like you did with the miners earlier on in the 80s when it's the Orgreave fight that the police feed the press this line denigrating the miners and their actions, and the same thing happens here, and it's like you fuckers.
It's just the stench of corruption
laid
bare there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But to heap all that misery on these grieving families and a grieving town, just horrendous.
Just the worst of that gutter press that was so common at the time. And of course, you can't buy the Sun anywhere in Liverpool now. On the 25th of July, the Princess of Wales opens the landmark AIDS Centre, a day centre for people with AIDS in London, doing her thing, God love her.
Yeah, so the AIDS crisis really writing large at this time, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
even gets a mention in this episode, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, it does.
So we've had the TV adverts, we've got the safe sex message going out, and we've got Diana touching people with AIDS to show that you can't catch it from toilet seats or sitting next to somebody or even just touching somebody, you know.
God bless her.
God bless her.
Okay, so another grim piece of news from 1989. On the 20th of August, the Marchioness disaster. A pleasure boat is in collision with a dredger on the Thames in London in the early hours. 51 people are killed. So this pleasure boat had lots of people. It had kind of like a nightclub vibe to it, didn't it? People were out there just celebrating life, probably quite young people, Londoners and people visiting London, and all of a sudden this terrible disaster unfolds.
Dreadful. On the 19th of October, the Guildford Four are released from prison after the High Court quashes their convictions for the 1975 terrorist atrocity. So like in our Stepford Wives episode, we talked about the Birmingham Six who get put to prison in the year that film's released. The Guildford Four is another miscarriage of justice as the UK scrabbles to find anybody they can blame and pin on these crimes, these bombings that happen in Guildford and Birmingham. 14 years they've been in prison.
Okay, in lighter news, on the 4th of November, it's the first showing of the claymation film A Grand Day Out, introducing the characters Wallace and Gromit, and that's at a film festival in Bristol.
In Burr.
In that there Bristol.
In that there Bristol. Lovely.
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit. Yeah, because they'd already done the Creature Comfort adverts, hadn't they?
That's right. That's
very
right.
turn on and offable, I remember.
Yes. Yeah. An advert for
British
central
Gas.
heating. Yes, that's right. And they had funny little creatures, claymation creatures, voiced by real people. And what's not to love about Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah,
You know.
it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
Fun.
absolutely. And the more good news, on the 3rd of December, Margaret Thatcher, I mean, we don't often put the word good news with Margaret Thatcher, along with American President George Bush and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, declare the end of the Cold War after over 40 years.
Yeah, thank you, David Hasselhoff.
Thanks, David Hasselhoff. It was him, really, that
It was him, really.
brought the wall down.
Yeah, and the Scorpions' Wind of Change.
Okay, good.
There was a rumour that the Scorpions' Wind of Change.
What is
you
the
know
Scorpions'
song?
No.
On the wind of change, take me to the legend of tomorrow. You know that song?
No.
Oh, jeez. Okay, copyright department. So it was a song by the Scorpions, which I think might have been a German group. Okay, fact-checking department.
I've got the wind of change today.
Have you?
Let me tell you.
Well, there's a rumour that was issued by the CIA and then blared out into Eastern Europe.
Oh, really?
Because it was all about hope and about change, coming from the West.
Yeah.
That they kind of pumped that out and made it a massive hit because that was what kind of prompted the youth to rise up to a certain extent.
Gosh.
Yes, there was a podcast on it.
Was there?
Yeah, I'm getting very blurry with my facts here. So
I can only think,
take it as gospel.
But I can only think if you've been playing the same song at somebody again and again and again, it might be like, will you shut the fuck up?
Well, I think it was more an insidious creep rather than
just on a loop.
On a loop 24/7.
Because wasn't there, I think it was in the Iraq War, there were stories of the British playing something like the Birdie song on endless loop.
Oh, really?
I've heard something like that just to drive people insane and get them out of their hiding places or whatever. So use of music. But then David Hasselhoff obviously comes in and saves the world. So
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. You all right? Because I know you're not very well today. Are you prepared for me to read out this next news item? Okay.
It's like kicking me when I'm down, but go on, read it.
Okay.
Read it.
On the 6th of December, the original run of Doctor Who ended by the BBC after 26 years. Let's take a break.
Thank you. Now I've recovered myself sufficiently. Should we have a look at the top 10 TV shows of 1989 to look at the landscape that Only Fools and Horses was being broadcast in?
Yes, let's do it. So, number 10, strangely enough, the film The Man with the Golden Gun was the 10th most watched show in the UK in 1989. Now, wasn't it released in the year of the Stepford Wives?
Yes, it was.
Didn't we talk about it last week?
We did.
And then I said that I saw it on TV. It comes in threes.
Maybe this is the actual viewing when your brother and sister started calling you. What did they nickname you?
Triple Nipple.
Triple Nipple.
Yeah. After Scaramanga from...
Yes, not because David has got 3 teats. He's not a suckling pig. But interesting, that's broadcast in April, and it's still getting 15.5 million viewers. It's not even like the Christmas movie, so it must have been on TV. I can't believe your brother and sister were calling you Triple Nipple when you were like 13 or 14, were they?
They're probably still calling me Triple Nipple.
Well, I'm sensing a lot of
There's a character called Scaramanga in The Man with the Golden Gun who has 3 nipples, basically.
Yes.
Still scarred.
Still scarred, clearly. Number 9, Inspector Morse, ITV show, again getting 15.5 million viewers.
Yes, big rating success there. Number 8, Forever Green, ITV.
Well, it's obviously passed into the annals of TV history, hasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Number 7, EastEnders, 15.88 million. That was for December the 28th, 1989.
Number 6, Bread. Carla Lane sitcom about the unemployed in Liverpool. I think ripe for an episode for us,
yes,
I believe.
I loved Bread.
I loved it, but I do think it's quite problematic in its depiction of Scousers, its depiction of the working class, and it's all about on the fiddle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's basically poking fun at people who are underprivileged and poor.
But it was about family and warmth and all that kind of thing, pulling together.
Yeah, but they're still on the rob.
Okay, number 5, Blind Dates.
With friend of the pod, Chinchilla Slack.
Yes, please refer to our episode on Blind Date that we did a few weeks ago.
Yes, 16.8 million viewers. At number 4, Coronation Street, still pulling in 19 million viewers at this point.
Yes. Now, number 3, Only Fools and Horses from Christmas Day 1989, 20.12 million viewers.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Number 2 is a bit of a shocker, actually, when you think about it. Neighbours, 20.5 million viewers. Guess what that was for?
Go on.
It was the wedding of Charlie and Scott. Yeah. Yeah. Suddenly you're near with me.
I thought it was for Bouncer's Dream.
That probably was as well. Mrs. Mangle. Aww.
Okay, number 1, the film Crocodile Dundee from Christmas Day 1989, 21.77 million viewers.
Again, just shows, you had to wait 18 months, 2 years for a film from the cinema to come on telly. So, and how huge the audience is for it. But this is going to be the last time we're going to see massive audiences like this, I suspect. Well, with Sky,
of course,
starting to nibble at the
this was the last
ankles.
hurrah, wasn't it?
Last hurrah. Yeah.
Did you like Crocodile Dundee? I did actually quite fancy him.
Oh,
which was-
totally. He used to do the Foster's adverts as well, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. Oh, was it 4X? Anyway, he advertised some lager. We're not pushing for a
Is this the way
sponsorship
it's called
deal.
Foster's? So it was Foster's, do you remember, on the tube?
Oh, yes. But yeah, I quite fancied him. I mean, he was quite hot, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a big knife as well.
He did. Big muscly arms.
Let's take a break.
So we can't have a look at the music charts.
Let's do it.
This is the official singles chart for the week of the 29th of January, 1989. Confidence.
Very, very confident.
I'm
This
very
was my
confident.
era of
Yes.
the charts.
Yeah.
This was me poised over the recording tape deck. listening
On a Sunday night.
Yeah. Trying to start exactly just after the DJ had stopped speaking,
Yes.
and then stopping just before it faded out.
Yeah, and getting really pissed off when the DJ came in early at the end.
Really
They wouldn't
annoying.
let the song out.
No.
It's almost as if they knew people were taping it at home. And then forever you'd have some DJ's voice on your best tape of stuff, didn't you? Honestly. Right, number 20, Get on the Dance Floor by Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. I suspect this is because the acid house thing's all kicking off at this point, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, Easy Rock.
Yeah,
See what they did
see what we did there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, number 19, Banger.
Banger.
Good Life, Inner City.
Great
Yeah,
song.
I mean, that stood the test of time, isn't it?
Absolutely. Number 18, My Prerogative, Bobby Brown. Another great song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Number 17, Respect, A Diva.
Great song.
Yes.
I bought it was like a Club Classics double LP that year, and it had all things like all the ones you knew that you used to be on the chart show in the morning on a Sunday, and Respect was one of my favourites. Yeah.
I remember I had Now That's What I Call Music from around this time. It
Yes.
had all these kind of songs
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Number 16, Baby, Don't Forget My Number, Milli Vanilli. There's a story to tell there.
Oh my God, isn't there just?
Have you seen the documentary on Milli Vanilli?
I have. It's really good, isn't it?
Obviously, tragically, one of them passed away.
Yes.
Didn't have a very happy life. But the other one has kind of come full circle and taken
Yeah.
ownership of everything.
Yes.
Married with a beautiful family and
Yeah.
back on stage singing these songs. Good voice.
Yeah,
Well.
and also there's that kind of whole weird, creepy. The guy who put Milli Vanilli together also put like Boney M together. Basically, he was a German producer, just using black people to make him rich. Basically, it was all a bit
Icky.
Yeah, a bit icky. Number 15, Waiting for a Star to Fall by Boy Meets Girl.
Was that from a film?
I don't know. It's quite a film though. I think it is from a film.
Fact-checking department.
Fact-checking department.
Number 14, Be My Twin, Brother Beyond. Does peak at number 14.
Number 13, Then Jericho have got their big area.
Don't know that one, do you?
No.
Okay, Stop Press. Number 12, Buffalo Stance, Nena Cherry. Now, this epitomises 1989 for me.
Yes.
That era.
Yeah.
Do you remember she was on top of the pops? She had...
Pregnant.
Yeah. Big belly out there.
Yes.
See, but a bit controversial at the time.
Yes, it was. What a
Because
kerfuffle that
obviously
was.
A woman, pregnant.
Yes.
Dancing around.
Yes. You should be in some maternity smock sitting at home. Yeah. Loved her.
Great.
Loved her. Number 11, Baby I Love Your Way, Freebird, Will to Power. Not a clue.
No. Number 10, Wait, Robert Howard and Kim Mazel.
Don't know.
Don't know that one.
No. Number 9, Crackers International by Erasure. Don't know that one.
No, it's an EP, so maybe it's got a few little songs on that we might know, but
Yeah.
who knows. Okay, so number 8 is That's the Way Love Is by 10 City. Doesn't ring a bell.
It's ringing a tiny little bell. Well, there's the tiny little ding and dinner bells you used to get in posh hotels,
Yes.
but no. Number 7.
Oh.
Okay, we've got Especially for You by two little-known artists called Kylie and Jason. Don't need to say any more about the phenomenon that is Kylie and Jason this year.
Do you remember there was this sort of... I mean, I think they did go out for a little while, didn't
Oh, they did.
But
They were
that
going out
was-
at this point. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were absolute lovers. They were in a total relationship.
Oh,
I had to
really?
keep it. Yeah, they've come out retrospectively and said, yeah, we were
Right.
together. I do believe that Jason was more heartbroken when it ended than Kylie was.
Kylie was busy. She had things to do.
Kylie's got a stratospheric career to mastermind.
Yes. Jason went on a little nosedive after that, didn't he?
Literally, I see what you did there. Oh.
Moving on, number 6, She Drives Me Crazy, Fine Young Cannibals.
Good song. I saw Roland Gift in a production of Romeo and Juliet not long out. Probably about this time, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was playing Romeo I went with my friend Christy. It was a playhouse in Newcastle, and it was all going fine until we were looking at the cast bios, and we realised that the woman who was playing the mum had been in Santa Barbara.
Oh.
That was us in hysterics. We had to leave. We got asked to leave because we were giggling too much. Just couldn't keep... You know, once you start in those situations and you're 16 and anything is funny when you're 16, we absolutely couldn't hold it together. We had to leave.
Why? Why?
Because Santa Barbara was shit. It wasn't. It's not even funny looking back on it, but Santa Barbara was so kind of seen as really tacky and shitty, but also a little bit camp. So the fact that she was here, we couldn't take her seriously, and therefore couldn't take the rest of it seriously.
Okay, she's obviously,
And bless her.
Bless her.
Yeah.
She's acting a little socks off.
She was.
You two dickheads.
I know.
Just sniggering away.
Total fucking dickheads.
No respect for the theatre and for the art. Okay, number 5, Love Train, Holly Johnson. He did Americano, didn't he, around this time? That was a good song.
Yeah.
Americanos.
Right, good. Number 4, Cuddly Toy by Roachford.
Great song.
I don't think I know it.
You do know it.
I probably do know it.
You do. It's because the title doesn't fit the song.
Right.
Feel for me, baby. You gotta feel for me, babe.
Oh, that rings. Yes, that rings a bell. That rings a bell.
Copyright department.
That rings a bell. Yeah. Number 3, You Got It by Roy Orbison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, I know. Number 2, The Living Years, Michael and the Mechanics. Now, this was a really big hit, and it was just a bit dirgy.
I think it was so dirty, I just ignored it.
It's about his father dying, isn't it?
Let's keep it light, Mike. Should we see what's number 1?
Yeah.
Okay, Something's Gotten Hold of My Heart with Mark Almond and Gene Pitney. I like that song. That was great. Not convinced. Didn't like it.
Didn't like it. I just thought it was a bit slow. I was more into Minetta Cherry at the time. We were all like sushi, you know.
Yeah. I liked it because I was just discovering about this time Dusty.
Oh, yes.
And my mum had a tape of all the 60s stuff, and Gene Pitney was on a couple of them, including his 24 Hours to Tulsa. So I quite liked Mark Almond at the time. And so when he was teaming up with Gene Pitney, it was like these two worlds coming together.
Right.
Yeah. And it's very dramatic. I had a sense of the drama from a very early age, Dave. It might shock you to hear that, but it's true. Right, Dave, to the matter in hand. Would you like to give us a bit of information about Only Fools and Horses, please?
I will. So Only Fools and Horses is a British television sitcom that was created and written by John Sullivan. 7 series were originally broadcast on BBC One in the UK from 1981 to 1991, and then 16 sporadic Christmas specials aired until the end of the show in 2003. It's set in working class Peckham in southeast London. It stars David Jason. David Jason.
Is Sean Connery coming through?
David Jason as ambitious market trader Derek Delboy Trotter, and Nicholas Lyndhurst as his younger brother Rodney, with a supporting cast. In our episode, it was Gwyneth Strong as Cassandra and Buster Merrifield as Uncle Albert. The series follows the Trotters' highs and lows in life. The series received numerous awards, including BAFTAs, NTAs and RTS awards, as well as winning individual accolades for both Sullivan and Jason. And it was voted Britain's best sitcom in a 2004 BBC poll.
There we go.
That's the bones of it. So, we chose an episode
called The Unlucky Winner Is. And in this episode, Del enters one of Rodney's old paintings into a children's art competition under the under-15s category and wins a family holiday to Mallorca. To claim the prize, Rodney is forced to pretend he's 14, enduring a humiliating trip full of kids' activities. He becomes increasingly exasperated, especially when he's entered into a breakdancing competition. And after the lottery ticket Del buys wins, the final straw comes when they're unable to claim the money because Rodney is apparently underage. End of episode.
End of episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the theme tune.
Go on.
Everyone can sing it to a certain extent, can't they?
Yeah.
It's just the moment it comes on, everyone knows where we are and what we're doing.
Yeah. The music was written by Ronnie Hazelhurst, him of such TV themes as Blankety Blank. He was a prolific. He did Are You Being Served? Pretty much all of those classic themes, Ronnie Hazelhurst would have done, the Two Ronnies, all that kind of stuff. So, and the lyrics were by John Sullivan, weren't they? Mm-hmm. And it's all about, stick a pony in your pocket.
Yeah, Shepherd's Bush.
Yes. Yeah. Do you know what I loved about this? I haven't seen any episodes of Only Fools and Horses since they aired, actually. What a really great snapshot of so many different things happening in this episode. Just on the surface, underneath the surface, little signposts to what 1980s Britain was like. And as you touched on before, it's kind of incredible that it was a real working class, scabby. The first season especially is scabby, but it just reflects that early 80s when it starts in 81, how broken the country was. Unemployment was massive, factories closing everywhere. It was just felt bleak, and God, it was bleak the early days.
Yeah, and I think why it endeared itself to the public, in particular working class audience, was the fact that here were these two brothers. Mother had died, father wasn't. I think father had died as well, but it was a family unit who were just trying to make life better for themselves in any way they could. Del Boy was the wheeler dealer type, roping his younger brother into all these little scams and flogging things on the market, knock-off goods, etc. They were the underdogs that you were rooting for.
But always optimistic.
Yeah.
His catchphrase is, this time next year we'll be millionaires. So there's always...
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons they also work so well is that there is the tragedy of them underneath is that they never get it until the very end. So, I think we've discussed before how tragedy and comedy are so kind of intertwined. If you can be crying and it's really easy to start laughing while you're crying, the emotions are the same. Yeah. So, despite all of their constantly at the end of each episode, it's gone tits up, a chandelier's dropped to the floor, whatever, there's still this lovely idea that they're still going to be optimistic. They're still going to keep going. They're still going to keep striving for it.
And also what this does, it follows a really common sitcom trope, which is these two people who are kind of at odds with each other, this brother scenario, can't live with each other and can't live without each other.
It's the steptoe and son effect, isn't it?
Steptoe and son, it's the Patsy and Nadine and Absolutely Fabulous. Yeah. So it just kind of sets this tone.
Yes. Now, quick side swerve, I'd like to talk about the Cockney Wide Boy, because Del Boy is the epitome of the Cockney Wide Boy, and this becomes a trope in TV in the 70s, specifically Arthur Daly in Minder and Citizen Smith, who's not so much Cockney, but it's very much seen as a bit of a wide boy, and actually becomes one of the tropes that goes throughout the 80s. And they're basically fast-talking, street-smart, working class. They rely on their charm, the hustle, dodgy deals, often very much placed in opposition to authority. So that what they're doing is not strictly legal, but they're a kind of lovable rogue. And they kind of represent the tensions of that era. So we've got this rise of individualism in Thatcher's Britain. This episode is really good. And this sitcom is very good at playing with the class in Britain. And we've got the introduction of Cassandra, the character, who's a yuppie. So you get this conflict between the working classes and the new upwardly mobile, and also how the ideas of masculinity are changing at this time as well. Towards the end of the 80s, when Thatcher deregulates the city and suddenly all these Cockney Wide Boys are making huge amounts of money, and Del himself turns into a bit of a yuppie, doesn't he, at one point? It's just reflecting this. But on television, the Cockney Wide Boy is allowed to get away with stuff that other people might not necessarily be able to. And obviously EastEnders will then go on to perpetuate these characters over and over and over again. I'm sure it still does today. There's always somebody having a dodgy little deal somewhere, but it's really this time period and Del Boy specifically that kind of cements it as a trope. Yeah, so
that's really interesting.
And he's very much the alpha male in their relationship, isn't he? Even though he's quite pathetic, but Rodney's very much the beater, but that lovely interplay between them, I loved it.
Yeah, what was really great about this episode is Del Boy's pulling all the strings. He applies for this competition and they go to Marbella because Rodney's painting wins.
Mallorca, isn't it? Mallorca.
And Rodney has to pretend to be a 15-year-old boy when he's in fact 26, they say. Yeah. But we see the fire in Rodney as well because he's been put in this hugely uncomfortable situation by Del Boy. So we see, rather than Rodney, this episode being the pathetic, downtrodden figure, we see his fire and his comeback. The dialogue in this and the story in this really highlighted both their performances and their big clash. But underpinned, again, as we say, with a huge amount of love for each other. Yes. They're allowed to slag each other off or humiliate each other, but woe betide anybody else who came in there and did that to them.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the clever things about Only Fools and Horses, which kind of differentiates it from a lot of sitcoms, is the character development over the years and the progression. They're not preserved in amber like, say, Terry and June or The Good Life were. You know, their lives change, they develop, they become parents, they get married, you know, all this kind of stuff. So it was a great show to follow as a viewer because these people are developing and changing in front of you, you know, so you can hook onto them and go on their journey with them. And at this stage, Rodney's now starting to black because Cassandra's on the scene.
Rodney and Cassandra, not just in this episode, but running all the way through, was just a really sweet journey.
Yeah.
It was a really true love story.
Yeah.
And like we say, you know, Rodney's got a little bit of class insecurity around Cassandra.
Totally. Because she's posh, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's trying to impress her with a smoked salmon salad and a nice bottle of wine and stuff. So he always kind of feels like he's perhaps not good enough for her. And when she turns around and says, "Oh, my parents really like you," he's so chuffed.
I know.
A little bit uncomfortable as to why they like him. And all the way through this episode, even though Cassandra kind of finds the whole situation quite funny that Rodney has to act as a 15-year-old, she was given a chance to shine in this episode as well, I thought.
Yes.
That she got some killer lines as well.
Absolutely.
But it was always so sweet. And we have this kind of little side story, don't we, about Rodney and Cassandra taking the next step to having sex, which I thought was really interesting. You know, it was a really good snapshot of what courting was like in the 80s, that they would be going out for a few weeks or months before they even considered sleeping together.
Yeah.
So there's all this talk about Rodney having to go and buy condoms, which I thought was really interesting, wasn't it? What do you think about that?
It was. And what I loved about this was all these little snapshots of 1989. So Rodney actually talks about the stigma. He says the words, the stigma of buying condoms. And he says, in this day of AIDS and all the warnings in the press, he knows he's got to be responsible and get them. But his perception, and I suspect this perception of buying condoms at the time, was it was tend to be seedy little blokes who are buying them. So you get that sexual repression of which the British used to be famous for, as well as this embarrassment of going into a chemist and buying them. And then there's the whole thing about, well, there used to be a machine in the toilets, you know, and now there is a machine in the toilets, so you can get them from there. But yeah, it was super interesting seeing that. Did you used to get asked by old people, "You're courting?"
Yeah,
when you were younger.
Gosh.
Yeah, so this similar kind of thing, you know, there's still that old-fashioned way of meeting somebody, having a relationship. Premarital sex is clearly still not the norm. Well, I think of Michelle Fowler and a Baby in EastEnders, you know, that was a teenage mum, you know. But yeah, it was super interesting.
Yeah.
I love Cassandra when she came in because the dynamic changes, because we then get this clash of two worlds, the yuppie world, because she's a yuppie, young, upwardly mobile, very much a product of Thatcher's mid to late 80s Britain.
Works in a bank,
dresses nice, talks nice. And as you say, they do all that kind of thing to try and make themselves the same class. So they've got dodgy looking bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Just like Blue Nun.
Even the concept of, I've got a bottle of wine in, was kind of exotic then, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, we've had the food and drink show with Gilly Goulden, do you remember?
Yes.
She kind of introduces wine to regular people because we don't drink wine as a country until, again, you can look at yuppiness for introducing a lot of these things.
The wine bars.
Wine bars, you know, wine bars are a response to more and more women in the workplace, like Cassandra, who don't want to go and sit in a pub with a slot machine. They want somewhere nice where they can go with their female colleagues. So that's why wine bars become a thing. But TV is now also introducing viewers. So the concept of drinking wine with food is becoming a real thing at this point in Britain, which it's never been before, unless you're middle class. But for working classes, wine? Yeah. You're joking, aren't you? What's that?
What was it? Asti Spumante. What was the one in the wide Lolo Ross? No, what was it in the?
God, I can't remember.
You know, the kind of like the circular shaped bottle.
Yes. Oh God, yeah. I can't remember what it's called.
Gosh.
Blue Nun.
Yes.
Mingin Liebfrau Milch.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I mean, yeah.
Hock.
Paint stripper. Yeah.
So if Cassandra represents the new model of what it means to be in Thatcher's Britain, what do you think about Uncle Albert?
Well, he's interesting as well because he has a whole sequence when he's mithering on about how Rodney and Del Boy are ungrateful to him because he fought in the war. A bit like Alf Garner was saying the same kind of stuff in that episode of Till Death Us Do Part we watched. He fought in the war for their freedom. They're ungrateful. So we do get that generational difference represented in this episode as well, which I love. Some other things which situate it. There's a lot of discussion about the microwave. You know, these were a new invention. You know, when microwaves start to really proliferate in Britain, first of all, people are convinced they're going to get radiation sickness. You could buy radiation Geiger counters when you have your first microwave, because Chernobyl's not been that long. So radiation is a kind of thing that people are really worried about. If you look at early microwave cookbooks, they tell you can microwave anything. And I saw a recipe for a microwave roast chicken, in which the way to brown the chicken was smearing Marmite on the outside of it. And it would take 6 fucking hours, Dave, to do it in the microwave. It takes an hour and a half in the oven. And it comes out like a rubber ball. You could literally bounce it, but microwave everything. So even their little conversation about the microwave, you know, and Albert saying, what strength is it, you know, was very telling about, you know, what's happening to people's kitchens at this point. You know, that was super interesting.
Okay, so they go to, where is it, Marbella or?
Mallorca.
Obviously don't go to Mallorca. All we get is a shot of a plane taking off.
Yes, and with some flamenco music.
Yes, and then we land very clearly in a Spanish airport mock-up, along with a hotel reception and a hotel room, very much studio-based. Representations of Spain.
Yes.
What do you think? Now, in the airport, there was these 2 Spanish security guards / policemen, weren't there, with these hats on. It kind of reminded me of that episode of Doctor Who when they went to Paris and the representations of French people were...
onions round the neck,
berets,
stripy T-shirts.
So there was kind of a lot of that going on, wasn't there?
There wasn't too much, actually.
No, it just the guards that struck me.
I guess it's all about the comedy. Here it's Rodney having to pretend he's 14 years old, and he becomes part of the groovy gang, which is because his other competition winners, all these under 15s have painted pictures that have won this cornflakes competition. So Cassandra and Del Boy have to pretend to be dad and stepmom, and it's just a classic comedy of errors, isn't it? You know,
it's great.
There's still a sense that a kind of a Mediterranean holiday is still not very common for the working classes, you know.
Very
so
exotic,
there's still, absolutely, there's still a hint of the exotic about it, you know. Again, think of Duty Free, which is a sitcom on ITV at this time, you know, which is 2 couples in Spain. Spain is an exotic, interesting location. How many TV specials would go abroad for a Christmas special at this point? So,
the music they play in the disco it just catapulted me right back. The Birdie song, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Viva España.
That was great. And what I really liked about the whole setup of Rodney being annoyed at Del Boy for putting him in this horrendous position of having to do skateboarding, do breakdancing competitions and all that kind of thing. Rodney gets an admirer, Trudy, who's like a 14-year-old Bros fan.
She's like, do you like Bros?
Yeah. So Rodney was mad at Del Boy, and then Cassandra was mad at Del Boy. But what was really good script-wise and so clever is the fact that Del Boy manages to play Rodney and Cassandra off against each other by saying, you know, Rodney's really trying for you, Cassandra, and then Cassandra's really trying for you, Rodney, making him to be the vulnerable one who's being picked on.
Yeah, he's a right bugger, isn't he?
He's a right bugger. But he's so quick.
Yes.
That's the thing. He's got an answer for everything.
Yes.
As Del Boy.
Absolutely.
Which endears you to him even more. Yeah. Gets himself out of scenarios that you wish you were that quick. You could get yourself out of stuff.
Yes, it did make me chuckle. The Rodney lists some of the activities he's got to do. Yesterday he had to do the splash and slide. He's done go-karting, ping pong, and cathedral painting, among others. Just like poor bastard. Yeah. Some great physical comedy in this.
Well, the fact that he's so tall.
Yes. But when he comes in his skateboarding gear, I did laugh out loud. Yeah.
A lot of the credit and the attention goes towards David Jason as Del Boy.
Yes.
In this episode, Nicholas Lyndhurst, the way he could tell a story without actually saying anything, just the look on his face, the disappointment, the humiliation, the anger, I just thought he was absolutely superb in this one.
Yeah, he's really great. I mean, they're a great cast, you know. They're all
really good.
You know, veterans of performing, aren't they? Especially TV shows, TV acting.
The reason why I wanted to choose this one, because you sent me kind of a list through, didn't you? And we kind of toyed around, shall we choose an episode that's got the most problematic elements in? But then we thought, actually, no, let's just celebrate the phenomenon.
Yes, because actually, Go on, sorry.
And then you sent me this list, and I just remember this episode as being one of the ones that I sat watching with my family and my grandma and just howling with laughter. It's so funny.
Yes,
this
yeah.
episode.
And I mean, a lot of the jokes, like the young ones, aren't funny anymore because we've moved on. But there is sufficiently enough physical comedy and still bloody good gags and good setups and resolutions that it's still a cracking piece of telly.
Absolutely. Shall we just go on to talk about, there's one problematic element in this one, which is a fat-shaming joke, isn't it, really?
But actually contextualises itself, because Rodney's talking about he doesn't want to go and see the nurse who's looking after the kids because she's a larger lady. And fair enough, there's a laugh from the audience. And then he says she wouldn't even make the roly-polies, you know, and the roly-polies were a dance troupe of 6 larger ladies of a certain age. And they were big on TV. They'd often appear on things. And that's really the only one line. No. And again, it's just language that's that's really reflective of the time. I remember watching the first episode relatively recently and being quite shocked at the prodigious use of the P word. But then I remember watching the first episode of EastEnders relatively recently and seeing Lou Beale using the P word. And so it was just that word. Now we don't say it, rightly so, because it's a word that comes from a position of power of one group to and it's punching down to another group. Yeah. Only the really stupid arseholes will still use that word today, let's face it, you know.
And there has been some kind of accusations levied at Only Fools and Horses, you know, having sexist behaviour and in the early episodes, use of homophobic slurs as well.
And there's this episode called The Yellow Peril, which riffs on old ideas of the threat from China, just Chinese impressions, but so does Aladdin and the 40 Thieves and John Craven, you know.
Absolutely. No, I'm not trying to knock Only Fools and Horses because it was very much set in its time. And like we always say, you can't change history. The cultural environment that you grew up in the 80s was that environment. And thank goodness, you know, attitudes have changed.
Yes, exactly.
But you can't really knock a show for using language observations that they saw all around them at the time.
Yeah, you can knock a show for I think you can knock a show for using it, but you can then reflect that it's not using it in a way which is inflammatory or insightful. It's just reflecting.
Yes.
And I think it's right to say, okay, that's not so great these days.
Yeah.
But actually look at what we don't do now, you know, and just be aware that if you're watching these shows that there can be stuff that would be like, oh, gosh, thankfully you can't say that stuff these days with good reason, you know. And I think, God, of all the stuff we've watched, this was relatively tame, you know, tame and still funny. And I'm still obsessed with the wallpaper in the flat set. I mean, some of those pieces in that flat set are just incredible, aren't they?
Do you know what? We were absolutely thrilled when they changed the wallpaper in Del Boy's flat and it was the same wallpaper as my grandma had.
Oh my God.
It was, do you call it flocking?
Yes.
Where it's slightly raised and it's velvety with a pattern on the wall.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like bamboo going up the wall.
Yes.
Kind of florally thing. And my grandma had the same one. And we were like, she's got the same one as Del Boy's flat.
And I used to obsess over that bar he had. You know, I'd kill for one of those. I'd still kill for one of those bars. They're so cool.
Let's just talk about really quickly. Okay, just like little memories, snippets of Only Fools and Horses that you remember. I remember when they got a whole load of dodgy blow-up dolls that were exploding.
Yes.
And at the end of the episode, I don't know if he was entertaining somebody on the couch or something.
He was trying to impress a woman, I think, wasn't he?
And he just heard this kind of a... and then these two blow-up dolls popped up behind the bar. That was classic.
Yeah. I remember when Del has his son, Damien.
Yeah.
And every time Rodney sees Damien, he just gets the quick blast of the Omen music. You know, that made me chuckle. And I sobbed when Albert was holding a new baby and he was talking up to the stars, talking about grandpa and stuff like that. I mean, it's just really touching. It was a great...
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. You know, iconic. Really iconic.
So many good things.
So
the
many
chandelier.
good things.
We've talked about the chandelier.
Yeah.
Leaning on the wine bar. Sorry, I could go on for hours. Leaning on the wine bar and...
Falling over.
Of course, the classic. Yeah.
And obviously the extended cast as well are all great. Characters like Trigger, Boise, Marlene, you know, all super. One other little thing I loved in this was that Rodney said he's studying for a diploma in computer science. And obviously this was a real push by the government at the time, computers of the future. future. And there's Rodney getting his diploma there, so God knows what he's going to do with it. Yeah, great show.
Great show.
And thankfully it's aged rather well in terms of the writing. I think it's probably aged slightly better than the young ones has in terms of the humour is still pretty valid and still kind of funny. So, with all that being said, what would you rate this episode of Only Fools and Horses?
I would rate it 8 skateboard helmets out of 10.
Right. I'd give it 8 leopard skin suitcases out of 10 as well. Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
Yes.
Good choice.
We hope you've enjoyed Only Fools and Horses. This was quite the nostalgia trip.
Right. Yes.
For me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
Good.
it.
I'm pleased you enjoyed it.
So, what we're going to be talking about next week?
Right. Well,
we've had fun. We've had humour.
Fun. And next week it's the end of the world.
Oh, okay.
Darling. It's the end of the world. A year ago, we traumatised our listeners by getting them all to go and watch the 1984 nuclear war drama called Threads. BBC 4 have just dropped Threads again, but they've also put it alongside a 1965 BBC film called The War Game. And The War Game is nuclear war told from a 60s point of view. 45 minutes, but was banned immediately. They didn't even show it at any point when it was first made because it was considered too horrifying for an audience. So it was only after Threads was broadcast in 84 did viewers see it for the first time. So that's it. Bit of light relief.
Have you seen it?
I saw it in 1985 and was a bit meh because I just watched Threads, obviously.
Yeah.
Not
as many killings in it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's a very different beast, but I think it's interesting because it's a different period in the Cold War. It's produced. We've just not relatively recently had the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know, it's not long since JFK was killed. So
we rarely venture back into the 60s.
Yeah, and here we go. So yes, look forward to the end of the world, everybody.
Very good.
Get your radiation tablets out and pray.
Anyway, well, we hope we've been able to provide you with a little bit of light relief from all the hideous news going on in the world at the moment.
Until next week.
Yeah, so what are you off to do now?
Right, I'm off to take part in a skateboarding competition, darling. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm going to the bar for a pina colada.
Oh, it's only 11 o'clock. Well done.
Exactly.
You're on holiday.
It's midday somewhere.
Until next week.
Au reservoir.
Au reservoir.